For those who haven't watched the previous part, please watch it first so you don't miss the story.
Since that night, Ronnie was no longer the same. Her face turned pale, her eyes sunken, and every time she looked into a mirror, she caught a faint reflection of flames burning behind her own eyes. Andra tried to stay with her for a few days, but even he began to feel terrified by the changes in his sister. Ronnie often woke up screaming in the middle of the night, running to the corner of her room while covering her ears, yet the voices still pierced through. "Ran, help me," followed by a far more terrifying whisper, "You're mine soon." Andra once tried to snatch Ronnie's phone and smash it, but it was useless. That very night, even though the phone lay shattered in pieces, the ringing continued. The tone came not from the device, but from the very air of the room itself. Ronnie shrieked, while Andra could only hold his trembling sister tightly. Day by day, Ronnie's condition worsened. She hardly ate. Her body grew thinner. Her gaze was hollow, as if she constantly heard something no one else could. Desperate, Andra returned to the old spiritual healer, begging for help. The old man shook his head gravely. "If that entity has clung to her this strongly, it's nearly impossible to sever it. He hasn't just bound your sister's friend spirit, he's marked your sister as his own. There is only one way." Andra swallowed hard. "What way?" "Your sister must face the entity directly. If she has the courage to reject him, the bond may be broken. But if she fails, she will be dragged in forever." Andra lowered his gaze, helpless. How could Ronnie, already half lost to fear, face something no sane human could? That night, at exactly 12:37 a.m., the voice returned. But this time, it was different. Ronnie's phone did not vibrate. Instead, the lights in her room flickered out, the air froze, and the shrill ring of a phone echoed from every corner of the room. Ronnie clamped her hands over her ears, but the sound grew louder, drilling into her skull. Andra, who had been asleep on the couch, rushed into her room. What he saw froze him in place. Ronnie sat on her bed, eyes vacant, clutching her shattered phone. From its broken screen glowed a deep, searing red light. Dinda's voice came through the glow, clear as day. "Ran, I'm still here. I can't get out. Help me." Ronnie, tears spilled down her cheeks. "I'm here, Din. I'll help you." Suddenly, the screen shifted. A tall, looming shadow emerged within the crimson light, its eyes blazing red, its voice booming. "She is mine, and you will be mine too. No one can save you." Andra grabbed Ronnie's arm. "Run! Don't listen! That's not Dinda!" But Ronnie thrashed in his grasp, screaming as if possessed. "I have to save her! I promised her!" The air grew unbearably hot, as though flames engulfed the entire room. The walls echoed with the screams of countless voices. Andra spun around in horror, blackened hands stretched out of the walls, reaching for his sister. Ronnie rose, her eyes hollow, her face deathly pale, and staggered toward the window. "I have to go to Dinda. I have to follow her." Andra lunged forward, pulling her back with all his strength. "No, you're not theirs!" But the unseen force dragging her toward the window grew stronger. Ronnie screamed, her body yanked by an invisible power. Amid the chaos, Dinda's voice rang faintly but clear. "Run! Don't follow me! Run!" Ronnie froze for a heartbeat, her eyes glistening. But then another voice thundered over hers, sharper, crueler. "She lies! You are mine! Step into the fire!" The window shattered in an instant. A cold night wind blasted in, carrying with it the acrid stench of burning flesh. Outside, Andra saw it with his own eyes, the vision of a burning car, flames roaring high, screams of trapped souls filling the air. Ronnie turned toward the sight, her face full of despair. "Dinda!" Andra clutched her tightly, refusing to let go. But her body suddenly grew weightless, pulled by an unseen force toward the shattered window. "Run! Don't!" Andra screamed, his voice breaking. But Ronnie looked back at him with the faintest smile, tears streaking down her cheeks. "I'm sorry, brother. I have to go." Her body was dragged closer and closer to the flames outside the window. Andra's heart pounded wildly as Ronnie's body lifted higher, drawn toward the shattered window. The night wind rushed in, carrying the stench of smoke and burnt flesh, as though the entire world was being pulled into the flames outside. "Run! Fight it! Don't follow him!" Andra screamed hoarsely, his grip crushing his sister's wrist. Ronnie turned to him, eyes brimming with tears, her face deathly pale. "I promised, Dinda. I promised I'd always be there." Her voice was faint, almost resigned. But through the hiss of fire and the cries of trapped souls came Dinda's voice again, clearer, more desperate. "Ronnie, don't follow me. I'm trapped. Don't let him take you too." Ronnie's body trembled, her eyes squeezed shut. "I'm confused, Din. I can't tell which one is really you anymore." Suddenly, a thunderous voice filled the room, deeper and darker than before. "This is fate. She is mine. You are mine. There are no promises, only eternal fire." From the walls of the room, shadows oozed outward, forming into a towering figure with no face, only two burning red eyes. The temperature rose sharply. Sweat poured down Andra's face as he clung to his sister. "Run! Listen to me!" Andra shouted, his voice raw with pain. "If you go now, you'll never come back. You'll never be free. You don't belong to him. You belong to yourself. Remember that." Ronnie opened her eyes, confusion swirling in them, before glancing again at the window where flames raged. Within the fire, the faint image of Dinda appeared, her face twisted in suffering. "Run! Don't!" Dinda's voice weakened, fading as though she was being dragged further away. Ronnie screamed, clutching her ears, her body growing lighter and lighter. Andra knew if he faltered for even a second, she would be pulled away. In desperation, he did something unthinkable. He bit into his own wrist until it bled, then smeared the blood onto the shattered phone still clutched in Ronnie's hand. "If you're a creature of hell, then take me! Leave my sister alone!" In an instant, the fire that had been calling to Ronnie flickered, drawn to the blood. The dark figure turned, its burning eyes fixing on Andra. "How dare you challenge me?" Ronnie collapsed onto the floor, sobbing, while Andra's body began to lift, his bleeding arm pulled by an immense force. "Andra, no!" Ronnie screamed hysterically, reaching for her brother. "Don't leave me!" Andra gripped her hand tightly, his body already half outside the window, the wind lashing his face. Below, the fire roared higher, the screams of the damned echoing louder. For a split second, he saw Dinda's face, not charred or grotesque, but the face Ronnie once knew, weeping within the flames. "Forgive me. Please protect Ronnie," she whispered, before vanishing into the inferno. Andra looked back at his sister, a faint smile on his bloodied face. "Ran, don't ever let guilt control you. Your life is still ahead of you." With the last of his strength, he shoved Ronnie away from the window. She fell hard onto the floor, crying out, just as her brother's body was dragged outward. "Andra! Andra!" At that moment, the dark entity laughed, a booming, guttural sound that rattled the windows of the entire apartment complex. "You choose sacrifice, then you will burn with her." Andra's body was yanked fully through the window, flames searing across his face before he vanished into the fire. Ronnie crawled toward the window, screaming endlessly. But outside there was nothing now. No fire, no burning car, no screams. Only the dark, empty night sky. The room fell silent, broken only by Ronnie's shattered sobs. In the days that followed, Ronnie lived in ruins. No one believed her story. To the police, Andra had simply vanished without a trace. There was no evidence of fire, no broken glass suggesting an inferno had ever existed. Yet every night, at exactly 12:37 a.m., Ronnie's shattered phone would still ring. But now it wasn't Dinda's voice, nor was it the dark entity's. It was Andra's, hoarse but calm. "Ron, don't be afraid. I'm still here. Take care of yourself." Ronnie would sob every time she heard him, but she also knew, as long as those calls continued, her brother's spirit was never truly free. And when the call ended, another sound always followed, faint, distant, but unmistakable. That same heavy laughter, as if to remind her of one truth: no one ever truly escapes the call. Several months had passed since that tragic night. Ronnie lived in silence. Her body grew thinner, her hair unkempt, her face pale. She rarely left her room and almost never spoke to anyone. Every night at exactly 12:37 a.m., her phone still rang. No matter how many times she tried to destroy it, the voice kept coming back. Sometimes it was Andra's voice, sometimes a faint dinda, sometimes only the hiss of flames that pierced the ears. But one thing was always the same. After the call ended, that heavy laughter would always follow. One night, Ronnie sat on her bed, staring at the cracked phone screen that suddenly lit by itself. An unfamiliar number appeared, the number she had memorized, the number that was supposed to be dead. With trembling hands, she answered. "Run!" Andra's voice came through, but this time it was different. His tone was heavier, quieter, as if speaking from within the blaze. "I'm not the same anymore, Ran. Now I'm the one waiting for you." Instantly, the phone screen went dark. The room's lights flickered, the air warmed, and in the mirror beside the bed, Rani saw a reflection that froze her blood. It was Andra's face, but his skin was burned, his eyes glowed red, and his smile was horrific. He stood behind Rani, though when she turned around, the room was empty. From the cracked phone screen, the heavy laughter echoed again, clearer, closer. And from that night, the calls didn't only come at 12:37 a.m. They came at noon, in the afternoon, even while Ronnie tried to nap. The phone never stopped ringing. Sometimes it was Andra's voice, sometimes Dinda's, but most often it was only laughter. Laughter that never ended. No one truly knows what happened to Ronnie and Andra that night. To outsiders, their story became an ordinary file. A young man vanished without a trace, and a young woman who slowly lost her sanity. But for Ronnie, the truth was far darker. She knew Andra had not simply disappeared. He had been dragged into that call, a call from a number that should have been dead. And now, every ring she heard was a reminder that the boundary between the living and the dead had been torn. Ronnie kept waiting, for who knows how long, waiting for the calls to stop, or until the moment she herself would answer them with body and soul. Because one thing she believed with all her heart: once you pick up a call from a number that is already dead, you can never truly hang up.